Hello, trying to be normal here. We're at the Conservative Tribune, August 10th, 2017. Elementary schools in full retreat after accusation of racist names by John Falkenberg. This story kind of hits close to home. It's in Portland, Oregon. Sometimes a name, a word, or an opinion doesn't have anything to do with race, but liberals just don't see the world that way. And I know from experience that liberals in Portland are totally ridiculous and out of pocket these days. We avoid going into Portland at all costs. But in Portland, Oregon, the land of hipsters, 3 elementary schools are losing their names and receiving new ones. Why? Because they were named after family whose name sounded something bad. Lynch Meadows, Lynch Wood, and Lynch View Elementary School were all named after the Lynch family, which donated land more than 100 years ago to help with the creation of the school. However, Lynch, capital letter, and lynch, as in the violent term for a mob justice murder, are not being discerned too well by some families. There were an increasing amount of questions and some complaints from families of color around the name, said Centennial School District Superintendent Paul Oakley, according to the Oregonian. Our diversity is increasing every year, with families coming from northeast Portland and out of state, so the names needed to be looked at, Oakley said. Without having to dig any further, we can take apart this so-called point pretty easily. First of all, the Lynch family has nothing to do with the awful act of lynching, as the Oregonian confirms. That's already a sufficient argument against this move. They aren't linked. The end. But there's a second thing that really takes the argument off of its rails. If the Lynch on an elementary school at any point sent out some sort of racist subliminal message to its students and passersby, why did it have to be looked at when and only when diversity hit some sort of politically correct critical mass? It's an idiotic argument made by sensitive people who would rather see the kindness of a family forgotten than a world that is not ruled by its emotions. If this is the opinion of those on the left has now opened the door for names to be racist. There are a great many names in Portland. Pittock, for once. There's a Pittock mansion. Half of the streets are named after somebody that settled here in the very beginning and actually founded Portland. And these people would like to arrest all of it, I'm sure. Finally, have the good liberals of Portland and elsewhere in this great country of ours forgotten that the name of the Attorney General of the United States, the one appointed by Barack Obama, the first black president of the United States, also happened to be Lynch, as in Loretta Lynch? The Oregon liberals might have forgotten it, but it's doubtful Bill and Hillary Clinton ever will. What do you think? Share this story on Facebook. Let us know if you are from around the Portland area, like I am. The site of the future city of Portland, Oregon was known to Americans, Canadians, and British traders, trappers and settlers of the 1830s and early 1840s as, quote, the clearing, unquote, a small stopping place along the west bank of the Willamette River used by travelers en route to Oregon City and Fort Vancouver. Or is it possible that the land today being occupied by Multnomah County, Oregon, was actually inhabited for centuries by 2 bands of Upper Chinook Indians? The Multnomah people settled on and around Sobey Island, and the Cascades Indians settled along the Columbia Gorge. These groups fished and traded along the river and gathered berries, wapato, and other root vegetables. The nearby Tualatin Plains provided prime hunting grounds. Eventually, contact with Europeans resulted in the decimation of native tribes by smallpox and malaria. So is that where their next racism plot's going to go? So all of Portland's racist because a couple of groups of Indians actually were here first? Is that what this is going to be? I'll bet it is.